Welcome to a special episode of the Brew Crew podcast with the Brew Crew podcast shorts. I am your host, Matt. Unfortunately, I forgot that my podcast partner was going to be gone during our regularly scheduled episode, and because we just did the Advent Calendar build, I thought it was important still to come with a regularly scheduled episode that I will drop shortly after I'm done with this. Today, I'm going to be drinking an Epic beer. Man, whatever happened to those Epic guys? I can't even imagine. In collaboration with Melvin, and I will go into Melvin because we've talked quite a bit about Epic in the last couple of months. And this is Country Chemists. I'm just going to sheath this, and this is an IPA that comes in at 6.5%. The important thing is I had two specific beers picked out for this podcast as I try to plan mine out. I know JT gets a lot of his gifted to him, but I try to plan these out, and it was a beer that JT and I had specifically picked out Friday during the Advent Calendar build, but unfortunately we were building 9 calendars and they only had 6 of the beer left. So instead of shorting anyone, we decided to skip that beer. So I bought all the entire stock out. I will maybe we'll do that in a future episode, but I plan on having a couple of those beers at least with me on my trip coming up here. This is very citrusy. It's a wow, that is delightful. The one thing takeaway, it's an India Pale with natural flavors, so it's almost like there's like a lemon juice in here. But anyways, so back to the Advent Calendar. I'm going to be all over the place here. So we had a great time down at the Barrel House. Shout to Sarah and all the crew, Chelsea included. She got backed out a $300 tip, which was a hilarious story. I won't say who did it, but his name rhymes with Chuggalo Smeater. So we got there. We were building our Advent calendars. Chuggalo Spill poured over the list, all 24 beers. So last year, if you guys remember, during the Advent calendar, the initial Advent calendar of 2021, the first week was disappointing outside of tripping animals. So this year, we put it on the most distinguished palate in our Advent calendar group that was available, and he poured over it for like an hour and a half once we had all the beers poured, because we went with 8 shorties and 16 prepackaged beers and mixed it all up. So with his palate, we shouldn't have any lulls. It's nice too because we're not going to have like a bunch of, there is an English mild in there. We're not having like back-to-back English milds. I don't want to steal too much thunder because I'm hoping that JT will either use this as an impetus to get some notes together, or maybe he has some notes too. But it was a fantastic time. I'm taking 4 calendars with me up north. And bequeathing them and distributing them, hopefully legally. I don't know the quantity on that amongst people all over Wisconsin. But again, all in all, a good time. Again, Barrel House. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you for having an amazing beer selection and hosting us and being more than flexible as we kind of dominated their front couple of tables as the calendars got built. So I'm going to tag them in that. But back to this beer. This is, again, Epic in collab with Melvin. I'm not gonna do the can art. That's not my thing. It's the other guy's thing. So it's just beakers and stuff like that. Oh man, that camera just went super clear. This is okay. First of all, this is dangerous and delightful. The other beer is a Jackie O's bourbon barrel Ojo Negro, which is my mouth is watering just thinking about that. That was going to be the second beer for the day. But the special thing about this beer is, I said, and I didn't want to bury the lead, both these beers had special prominence today. The other time, and this would have been my typical Stump JT trivia question, we've done Melvin one other time on this podcast, and why was it important? We did it on episode 10, and that was the first episode way back in 2018 that we decided that we were going to do 2 beers in an episode. So it's even more ironic as this comes together because that episode we did 2 beers for the first time ever during the podcast, and now even though this isn't a full episode, keep in mind I didn't give this a number, now we're going back down to 1 beer. It's hilarious. So even though the name is Country Chemists, Melvin is out of Wyoming, and Epic is out of Utah and Colorado. So not cross country in that respect. Man, this is so citrusy. It almost like tastes, especially with the carbonation, almost tastes like a pop, like an alcoholic or like a squirt with how refreshing it is. Almost dry, like that IPA. They talk about juicy in IPA. The juicy doesn't apply here. It's more like that rind and tartness. I don't know. It's not a sour IPA though. It's more like that fresh bitter, if that makes sense. So I wanted to do a little bit on, God, this is delightful. I wanted to do a little bit here on Melvin. So again, they're out of Alpine, Wyoming. And you're like, oh, I only know like Cheyenne and, a couple other places. There's Cody. Cody is on the northern side. Cheyenne's in the southern side. F.E. Warren, the Air Force Base. I don't know where Alpine is. That's okay. Alpine's only got 750 people. But yet we have a brewery that we've had twice in 5 years, and you see Melvin around all the time, and Epic. So they're at least on people's radar that you can get them here in Ohio pretty easily. As I picked this up at Pat's, and you can. They're also in collaboration with much larger breweries like Epic, even though I've never heard of this, Denver, Colorado, or wherever they're from. So, anyways. About the history about Melvin. They started in 2009 when the founder, Jeremy Tofty, decided to bring beer from the future Jackson, Wyoming. Their 20-gallon brew system quickly grew into a 3-barrel system, so baby steps. And then award-winning beers. They won Small Brew Pub of the Year at Great American Beer Festival in 2015, so 6 years later. And then they opened a 30-barrel facility in Alpine, Wyoming, so 45 minutes outside of Jackson. And then they went on to win their brewing group in 2017. So they've been all around. And their big reminder is, if your beer is not madness, it's not beer. This beer is definitely madness. And again, would be one of my questions for JT. Would you like to know, like, when beers collab, like Three Floyds collabs all the time, Epic collabs, like, who brings what? Is it just dudes and dudettes sitting around the table and writing stuff? Is kind of, you don't want to see behind the curtain. It's like a magician. You don't want to see who contributed what to the tricks or how tricks evolved. I'm kind of curious, like, is it a way that bigger guys, I look at it this, as a community. So, like, let's say Rheingeist, a much bigger brewer, collabs with the Brew Crew podcast. Are they just, and I'm like, hey, just throw oats in there or something like that. They put our name on the can, but I'm really not contributing that much. But is it like a high tide raises all ships? So if Epic gets Melvin's name out there, that's just more people. I like to picture that's what happens. So even if your brewery or whatever isn't contributing that much to like the bigger product, and they're using all of the bigger breweries' canning facility, that contribution is, hey, we will bring you along for the ride, and whatever proceeds we'll chop up accordingly. But their name is prominently on the can. I mean, they're equal billing here on the top. I mean, there's no, like, some of these collabs, and JT catches me, quite a bit when I miss them. But to me, that's equal billing. So it's awesome to see that, and who knows, maybe it's the brain trust from Melvin going to Epic and saying, hey, we've got this idea, you've got the product, you've got the hops or whatever, can we put this on your production line? So again, it's fantastic. Go to melvinbrewing.com, drop that www and go there and check out their website. Their About Us is pretty long and substantial, and it just goes into their ethos and their credo about engagement and community and creativity and lifestyle, live life passionately. It's a lot of these same themes that we see with all these brewers that are going on, when we definitely do website reviews. This beer, I've never had anything like this. It's not a sour. That natural flavors are what, gives it that zest. The zest, the rind, like if you are, adding zest to like a chicken or something like that before you throw it in the oven, or when it's finishing. Oh, I thought it was coming. Sorry, Stacy. Off the top rope. This is crushable. I've already packed my beer for the next week. I might have to bring the other 3 of these, because this is going to be a palate cleanser. We've got palate ruiners, palate wreckers. This is a palate cleanser. I feel like, and today, originally, I was going to have this be the second beer, with the first beer being the much more substantial in prominence, the Jackie O's. But this beer, I think you could drink anything after this, and you're not going to be dissuaded or influenced by what you consumed here. Again, off the top rope, 4.75. I don't know what I would. It's delightful. It's got all of those characteristics I like. The hop, the drying, but also like the tartness and the bitterness of that rind. I would buy this up. I think the price point, we were in the teens for a 4-pack, which isn't hateful at all. It's a quality product. It comes in a pint can, so that lessens that blow if that's what you're confused for. Wow. And with that, I would go out and get this highest recommendations. As I embark on this next week and hanging out with longtime friends that I haven't seen in a long time, a lot of beer will be consumed. But here's just a reminder as we're coming up into the holiday season. Take the opportunity to tell those that you're closest with that you're thankful for them, because Thanksgiving is the week after this as I'm recording this. But there's a lot to be thankful for in the world right now. Good beer, good friends, and hopefully good times. But that's it for Brew Crew podcast shorts. I don't know what episode we're on or whatever, but this will get posted shortly. Cheers.